So the topic of discussion is, could we actually be really talking to ourselves when we're asking EVP questions?
You mean like just like we're like nuts and we're sitting in empty rooms and like talking to ourselves, or?
Well, getting like we've already crossed over and we're actually talking to ourselves now.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I think it's possible. Actually, I think that here 2 or 3 times through various devices like the Hack Shack, the Ovilus, I've gotten the impression that I've been talking to me. I've gotten the impression I've been talking to you. I think once I got the impression I was talking to Mark as well. So I mean, if you really kind of look at it from the standpoint of, well, I guess I would say Middle Eastern beliefs is more that this is all happening at the same time. I mean, it's like as far as time goes, it's like our future, our past. It's all happening now.
Parallel planes?
Not necessarily parallel planes, but it's like your existence is, you view it as one unit. You know, it's like, I mean, that it's all now, that your whole life is now. So meaning that, I mean, it could be very conceivable that we might have tapped into a way to actually talk to ourselves, because it's somewhere in some greater scheme of things, we're already dead. We're already passed over. In a greater scheme of things, we haven't been born yet. So talking to ourselves might not be too far off.
So imagine this then, you know, that we actually contacted ourselves then through a reverse EVP.
Yeah.
Gave ourselves the idea that reckless spiritualists are funny.
Yeah.
Told ourselves to create a machine
Yeah.
to talk in reverse to ourselves.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To me, it's starting to sound like we are creating our own success for ourselves. But it's a.
Well, I mean, if you had passed away and you're doing this,
Mhm.
right? Wouldn't you try to get in touch with us?
Well, even if I hadn't passed away and it was future me, I would still try to get in touch with us.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
Say 20 years from now, Tim and I are the only ones that are still alive because you all bastards die off.
I find it like not very comforting that like you looked at me first and then over at Mark.
But I mean, and the technology exists that I could contact myself at this time or you guys at this time. I certainly would take advantage of
Okay,
that. Okay?
yeah.
I mean, I have the mindset that I definitely would do that.
Now wait a minute, I'm going to tell you how I think.
Mhm.
If we can come back from the future and tell us something to kind of get us going somewhere, why the hell didn't I come back and say start buying gold when it was $600?
Well, that's a good point.
So,
Maybe there are rules. You know?
Well, we had a psychic in here, last week?
Yeah.
And she recognized a man named George.
Yeah.
And was part of this area here for about 30, 40 years. And she basically described George, you know.
and she came up with my name.
Yeah.
She also came up with my name, and I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
But that we were going to meet someone named Tim.
No, she said, you're gonna meet someone, Tim, or you just met him,
And he's going to
and
bring.
he's gonna bring money.
Right. So where's our money?
Tim!
That's awesome.
Hey,
Well, have you, let's take it a step further. I mean, so we've discussed talking to ourselves in the lab, which would be a great place for us to get in touch. But like Mark said, or your initial question, do you ever think outside of this place you've talked to yourself? Or?
I know the 3 of us at Bachelor's Grove kind of sensed that. We actually asked, when we ask EVP questions, we say, George,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's
Dean,
right.
are you there? And then when you started asking for me, I'm like, you really need to stop right there. Creepy there, but
That's right, we did do that. But then again, you know, the guy's gear, can we mention? Dale Kazmarek was there with us. Awesome, my first time at Bachelor's Grove with Dale Kazmarek. And he had mentioned that his gear didn't normally behave the way that it was behaving that
Right, that's a
day.
very good point.
And we were trying to talk to ourselves periodically. And it's like, I mean, the look on his face, it's like, I mean, yeah, he was looking at us like we were nuts.
Yeah.
But then his gear was
Reacting to
doing stuff, yeah.
Didn't Bruce
So
say, when she was here, that, there's people that follow us, that
they will follow us to make sure that we get the evidence that we need.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Meaning
Oh,
spirits.
it could be our group.
since,
could be us.
since you guys were there
Yeah,
with
it
Dale, and the equipment was going off, and he says, this never has done this before,
Interesting. So we got groupies in the afternoon.
By the way, George, hell of an umbrella.
You gotta see the picture online.
You gotta see it on our website.
Check out this picture right here.
But another thing too was also with Dale at the Tinkers was one of the, the hostess, she actually said that she smelled peppermint. And I said,
Okay.
well, that was me, because I was eating the candy at the time.
That's right.
And I was there a week before, so she could be catching up.
That's true. That's true too.
Even Seth could.
God, thank God she didn't mention the pot roast sandwich.
Oh, man. Those are good signs.
Thank God you said roast sandwich after that.
Okay, so as far as, let's just go ahead and say that we're not exactly talking to ourselves, but this might be like kind of like an outreach from it. Let's say there are people on the other side who are trying to do exactly what we are doing. Thomas Edison, for example, it's like, I mean, when people, when you try to communicate via Ghost Box or Frank's Box or HackCheck or whatever it is.
It's all modern electronics.
Agreed, but one of the things that people say is try to talk to someone specific. That was actually the rule with Edison's Ghost Box, was that it wasn't to talk to spirits, it was to talk to specific dead people. I mean, you could ask for whoever, and that's who you talk to. So let's say, for example, that there are hunters on the other side, dead hunters, who are trying to communicate with the side of the living. Who's better? I mean, yeah, I mean, are we better? Do you think that they're hearing more of us? Or do you think that they're actually better at communicating with us because we are having these sightings?
Well, if it's the reverse thing, they would have to learn everything in reverse.
Okay,
However, if it is us and it's our mirror image of us being dead, wouldn't we be able to speak to ourselves in reverse and forward? Especially if, to get to your point, if it's hunters, I think we're the best 5 hunters I know.
Yeah.
Who would be the best 5 dead hunters that I would
Okay.
know would be the same people.
but do you think that because we don't know how we don't even know if we're showing up on their side.
I respect your too.
Because we know they're showing up on our side. We're hearing their voices, we're seeing their images. Do we think we're showing up on their side?
Because they're responding to our questions, so yeah.
Okay, so we know that they're at least hearing our voices. Do you think we've done anything, stumbled upon anything where they may have actually seen us? Or do you think that there are only certain people that they see?
I don't know, do you hear that?
I just whistled if that's. Like that.
I'm pretty sure they see us.
You think so?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but he has a good point. I mean, maybe he sees certain people, and then why?
Well, people with higher energies, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I don't get the impression that we can see each other at the same time. I mean, sometimes it's difficult. Like for example, there might be a ghost here with us right now, but we aren't seeing them, okay? And perchance, they might not be seeing us. You know, I mean, we might not be vibrating on the same frequency, but potentially, they could be seeing Nick. They could be seeing Dean sitting here, but not the rest of us. I mean, could it be some people that do that? Or again,
Well, then you go
But
with
then-
the Asperger's or children sees.
Okay.
Right.
So it's
Well, you know
Okay.
why some people are sensitive or psychic and others aren't. No.
right.
Same,
Okay.
along the lines of those.
Now, do you think that there's any way to, God, how can it, God, I'm sure to a Star Trek geek here. Anybody watch Star Trek? Are you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
For the record,
Yeah, man, that makes 2 out of 5.
Okay, so I think it was, I can't remember the show, maybe Ghost Adventures, where they were talking about, they had certain frequencies of light that they would go ahead and flood a room with. They take the light out, and then apparently the light can be seen by them on the other side, so the light kind of attracts them.
Okay.
I've seen them demonstrate it. Now, do you think that there is maybe a light, maybe something that emits a certain frequency or a certain tone? And I brought the Star Trek thing is, you guys know the Borg, right, from Star Trek? One of the episodes had something where people were walking around in the Borg ship, but they had like a device that they put on, so the Borg couldn't see them. So the Borg, you know, I mean, just physically couldn't see them. It was like a cloaking device. Do you think there's anything we can put on, anything we can do to ourselves so that they can see us?
That's a good question.
Well, it's maybe not seeing, but let's say EVPs.
Okay.
Now, when we were talking with Melissa Tanner from TNT, when she was in here, she said that if you perform an EVP session with like a blue light on,
Okay.
the blue light supposedly enhances or encourages EVPs.
Okay.
That's something we need to check out.
Okay.
I have a blue light.
You have a blue light? Now, she said she just used mechanics like a car auto light you would hang in your car in the garage and just put a blue light bulb in. And she said she had some enhanced EVPs.
So that would be interesting if they're walking around just in a place of darkness and all of a sudden they see the blue light and you can see us lit up with it.
We'll definitely have to try that. That
Yeah,
was one of the
totally.
points you brought up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that'd be interesting to try.
We try that tonight?
I don't have my blue light on.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, that'll be in a future episode. We'll, all through this series, you're gonna find us maybe throwing some clips in. We do a lot of experimentation, so, and our thing is communication. We have photo evidence, we have EVP evidence. Hasn't changed the world yet. So if you can communicate with them at will, let's say, boy, that'd be great to have a real-time conversation.
So for this experiment with the blue light here at the lab, I say the 5 of us do the blue light, but we ask questions of us.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, we see if we can find ourselves,
See if we
okay.
can find ourselves.
Wow, that'll be a very touching episode. We find ourselves.
We'll be the blue light special.
Ready to join us today?
Back to the
Okay, so as far as like the downturns of the fact, is anybody depressed over the fact that in some time frame and some time scale that we're already dead? Does anybody have any difficulty with that? Mark, what do you call it? It's post-mortem.
Post-mortem depression.
Ready post-mortem depression?
Didn't we think Mark was dead to begin with?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm still in questioning.
We had him hold mirrors up to his mouth, see if he was breathing.
So what if we, since we're actually, we're doing this and we're also working in the lab tonight, what have we experienced tonight? Who's seen what? We've heard some taps, I got the impression I was in a crowded room when you guys were like out of the room, when you guys were in the ante room.
When I was working the crystal bowl, well, that sounds bad, huh? Well, when I was working the device, the
Something bad over
bowl,
on this end of the house.
I did feel as if something was walking up to my
Okay.
left side
Okay.
from the wall, and Nick kind of validated because we both said something at the same time. It was kind of what we experienced at one time.
Yeah, yeah,
And I started seeing that type of movement.
okay.
So it wasn't very strong. I wasn't getting the overpowering feelings like I usually do, but there was definitely something there, and we were stirring something up. So.
Okay, okay. And I gotta say that I've heard some rumblings when we came back down here,
Right.
so interested in getting back up there.
We're all
Me and Rob here, the
sitting
couch
here.
over here.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's
you're
where we go to.
drilling farts into,
Right?
yeah.
One interesting thing too, when Mark was working the bowl,
Now, time's up, we gotta go.
right?
Just kidding. Sorry.
It was fun. It was a good time. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
One time when we were working the bowl,
Shit.
Okay,
that's a
so
good
so as far as like, for example, talking to ourselves, we've kind of like toyed with the idea, and we've been discussing the idea of engineering the environment to go ahead and make it easier for them or possibly us to exist. So what other aspects do you think we can like work into the fact of trying to engineer the environment so that we can
Well,
see ourselves? We have the blue light potentially.
okay, we've tried a Van de Graaff generator.
Yeah,
I don't think it's quite strong enough.
okay,
I think what the psychic told us when she was in here is when we got the music playing. I think it's just us being here having a good time.
okay,
Just being ourselves, that creates energy that they feed off. Apparently,
Okay.
she said they liked that.
okay, okay.
They liked when we played the music and just, sat around and did our thing,
And I was gonna ask that because the last few times we've been here, we've had guests.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do, we mess with guests that come into the lab by playing infrasound to go ahead and mess with their heads. Do you think that was the music that we're referring to?
No,
'Cause we also
I think
play
it was
Stones
just,
and-
I think it was just the music we turned on the
Okay.
radio and stuff.
Okay, okay,
Although I'm sure the infrasound,
okay.
Well, if it ain't getting them going, it's getting us going, so I mean, you know.
Yeah, that was where it was like, again, like the trade-off, because yeah, the infrasound is gonna affect us.
Right.
But then again, potentially, one of the theories is that it also affects them. I mean, that there's like a crossover with the infrasound, that we can hear it and they can hear it. But unfortunately, we react to infrasound in a negative kind of way, so.
Apparently what we're doing, they like the energy, it attracts them. Now, this is according to the psychic or the medium that was here. And she hit a lot of things right on. I was very impressed.
Okay, compared to like the other psychics that you've had in here.
No, actually, the good ones we've had in, well, there's 3 of them, that I can name, which I won't at this time, but they were right on.
Okay,
The 2 women and the guy we had in here.
okay. What are you getting some?
I don't know, I thought I heard something, but I don't know, I think it might have been.
Okay, and again, to reiterate, there is a haunting that happens like literally right behind Dean.
Yes.
Either something peeking around the corner, not the penguin looking down from the ceiling, the Tom Cruise penguin.
No.
Something either peeking around the corner or traveling left to right behind.
Thought I heard Lloyd coming back here, but
Yeah.
like a low,
Okay.
like
Well-
a scuffling sound.
Well, let me ask this, to bring up the point that you had. What do you think, I mean, everybody's investigated the lab here. Maybe we
Freudian
have-
slip.
Yeah, maybe we have haunted the lab.
Yeah, we're haunting the lab right now.
Well, everybody's haunted the lab here, and I'm sure we all know when it feels most haunted to us, Maybe I might just ask, when does it feel like it's the most haunted to you guys? When does it feel like you're getting the biggest bang for your buck?
After the investigators leave.
Yeah.
Or right after it just seems like everything starts heightening up.
Once we got everything packed
Maybe
up.
they're mad that we're leaving, who knows?
No,
A lot of times, right when I walk into the place,
Yes.
I'll get the impression that
they're
was-
checking you out.
Yeah, either that or just something came to like an end. It's almost kind of like you get the feeling like you're interrupting. I mean, you're walking into an empty building.
Yes.
But you get the feeling as though you're interrupting something.
Yes.
Again, the sensation that there are a lot here. It's not just like one thing looking around a corner. I always get the impression that I've interrupted a group of people doing something when I walk into the place. But usually, the first time that I walk into here is when it strikes me the most.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, I think all of us too can attest to the fact that at times we hear, random conversation, like group party chatter, basically. Is
Right.
Like how they describe it. Like you said, it's like you're interrupting a conversation, like, somebody just instantly shut the jukebox off when you walk in,
exactly.
and
Well, another topic that we'll probably bring up later.
See, did you catch that too?
I did.
Okay.
Did I say something?
Yeah.
Dude, something was just right there. I
Yeah.
saw it out of the corner of my eye.
See, I was just gonna mention the lab lights.
Yeah, okay.
So
Lab
that
lights.
might be something.
Okay.
That was creepy.
Well,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see if the blue light affects that too.
Okay. Should we explain what lab lights are, or should we save that for another time?
might
Because
save
we
how much
may
time
have
we got.
hurt ourselves when we did that.
We'll talk about lab lights.
Yeah.
that's a whole.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, because we did it and it did something to us. If we tell you about it, you're probably gonna try to do it yourself. And,
Don't try this at home.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of along the lines of Mary Worth, but I won't get into it.
Na.
We'll talk about all this stuff eventually. But that was,
If we don't get canceled by then.
yeah, that's true. Whatever that was.
That was cool.
really kind of cool.
Actually, I'm kind of getting some visuals over in that hallway over there, and I caught before when you and I,
Yeah.
something was like looking around the corner.
Yeah, that's.
Was it the penguin over
No.
No, I know the
You sure
penguin.
what?
No.
See my shadow?
No, you were sitting.
Yeah, I was doing the.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was over your head, and
Yeah.
George saw it too. And I'm glad he did
Yeah.
because I could have just.
So was it like right over my head or?
Yeah, no, it was like they were peeking around the corner, dude.
Well, anyway, okay. I say we get back up and.
So that's another cue then, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess our segment ends when we get
Yeah.
here.
Well, they're letting us know to go back upstairs, so
Wow, okay.
hopefully we'll be embedding some evidence.